What makes a good commander? So there are 3 steps to this. First, find a theme. What is your deck's theme? The commander should revolve around that. And that will be your thing or your theme, as I say throughout the video. Step 2 is going to be adding to that theme. Step 3 is going to be manipulating that thing in a way that helps move the deck along. So those are the 3 main steps, and you will see them throughout the video as I give different examples. Hopefully that clears things up throughout the video. Here's an example with Lathril, Blade of the Elves, and Abomination of Llanowar. Abomination of Llanowar is a great creature. Vigilance, Menace, its power and toughness are equal to the number of elves you control and the elves in your graveyard. That's incredible. 3 mana for potentially a really big creature. That's fantastic. That doesn't take your idea. So elves is our idea. It doesn't take that and further it. It just says, hey, I'm a big elf. And then what? Like, what do you do with that? Lathril, on the other hand, says whenever she deals combat damage to a player, you make that many 1/1 elves, so elves, she makes more elves, and then you can tap 10 untapped elves you control, and then each opponent loses 10 life and you gain 10 life. So she's a good creature to have out because she's 2/3 with Menace, right? It's just harder to block, so you can potentially get more elves. Then she can deal, when she deals that combat damage, you create that many 1/1 elf warriors. You can make her bigger with some sort of equipment or something to make even more. And then once you have all those elves out, you can make people lose life. So you got elves, she makes more elves, and then those elves help you do something. Next, our theme, usually people do Tribal or Spellslinger. Those are probably the most popular ones. So here's an example of a couple of Spellslinger type commanders that you could potentially use. Eruth, Tormented Prophet, and Mizzix of the Magnus. Now, Eruth, Tormented Prophet, is a 2/4 for 3. It's like fine. And if you would draw a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library instead, and you can play them this turn. So every time you draw a card, you potentially get 2 cards out of it because you can play those. That is fantastic. Eruth is awesome. I really love her. Spellslinger, right? That's our theme. And she does something, right? She helps whenever you draw a card, you can get 2 potential cards, which is potentially 2 extra cards in your hand, theoretically, like kind of. She kind of does that thing. But then she doesn't help you like cast those things. So Mizzix, instead, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value greater than the number of experience counters you have, you get an experience counter. So spell slinging, every time we do that thing, we get an experience counter. And then all of those instants and sorceries cost 1 less to cast for each experience counter you have. So it's just like this loop of, I'm going to cast a spell. My spell's going to cost less. Can I cast a spell? My spell's going to cost less. And so it goes back and forth. Mizzix is a fantastic commander. Eruth, or something similar like that, might not further your intentions fast enough. Eruth does get you much better card draw than Mizzix does, but she doesn't further the idea of, I'm going to keep casting things and make them cheaper and then win from constantly doing that. I don't know if anybody's actually using Eruth as a spell-slinging commander, but she is an option. Next, we've got the theme of combat, right? We're going to be super, super brutal, super ruthless in our combat step, and we're just going to pummel opponents. So we've got Mr. Orfeo the Boulder and Thantis the Warweaver. I actually really love Orfeo. He's fantastic. Look at that art. It's so cool. But whenever you attack, double target creature's power until end of turn. That's awesome. So you've got your combat theme. And then you're going to double the creature's power, which kills people faster. Blank. What else? What else can you offer me? Thantis over here is a 5/5 with vigilance and reach. All creatures attack each combat if able. I'm going to just drop big old green and black and red creatures, and then they're going to attack every single turn. You got your combat, you've got a big body, plus you've everything's doing that constantly. So the theory is that you have big creatures big enough to kill opponents' creatures, and then you basically swing out and kill everyone. And then so you've got all that. And then whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, you put a +1/+1 counter on Thantis, which gets nuts. So if they have to attack you for some reason with a bunch of creatures, Thantis just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you've got your combat and your forcing everything to attack all the time, and then making your commander bigger, which helps you in combat. Amazing. That's your theme. That's what's making it better. Next kind of section here goes back to the tribal theme. If you want a good tribal commander, look up what you can do with those tribes. Humans, zombies, goblins, those are all great tribes. Lots of things built around them. If you want to do something, say, cephalids or djinn, those are awesome creatures. I love cephalids and djinns, but they suck. Individual creatures might not suck, but as a whole, it's harder to build a tribal deck around stuff like this because all their abilities are few and far between, and none of them really mesh together. And so one creature might be really good in a different thing, and then another creature might be good in a completely different thing. And so they're all over the place. And if you look at this list of cephalids, look, there are only 23 cephalids in the entire game. So you're not going to get very far with that first and foremost. And look at this, cephalid broker. Target player draws 2 cards and discards 2. That's neat. And it's a cephalid. Cool. Or you've got flying Saccaland to draw a card. No, it's weird. What? That's not really the themed thing. Shield broker, that does a different thing with a shield counter. They're all over the place. Same with djinns, right? Look at all these djinns, and they're all in every single color, and you can't really pick and choose. Look at Elsha of the Infinite. Elsha's great for another spell slinging deck type thing. Great commander there. But then this guy over here is just a flying trample, attacks each turn of Fable, and then you lose a life for every damage he deals. What? All these are all over the place. Make a good tribe. Make your deck into a deck that uses a tribe that's actually supported. So just do some research before you start building random themed decks. Just to make sure you can support them. Otherwise, they're kind of just going to putter out and die. All right, last couple of examples here. Akroma, Angel of Fury. Akroma's awesome. Can't be countered. 6/6, flying, trample, protection from white and blue. She's got fire breathing, and you can cast her a little bit cheaper for her morph cost a little bit. And fantastic creature. Terrible commander. Just terrible. Do not play Akroma as your commander. What is your theme going to be? Is it going to be angels? Because there's only a handful of red angels, so that doesn't really work. Are you going to do? I guess you could do commander damage, just like a Voltron thing, but you're going to spend all game trying to get her out because 8 mana in red. Red has no ramp, and if you're looking for red ramp, look at my video. There's very few ramp options for red, especially for 8 mana. You're going to be sitting on her for a long time. Even if you do morph her, you could pay for 3, morph her onto the battlefield, and then she just sits there as a 2/2 until you can pay 6 to cast her later, and then she's just a big creature. And I guess that's fine, but there are better Voltron commanders like Mr. Orfeo. He's just 4 mana, double the thing. And So anyway, another great example of this is the Talpa Primal Dawn. 8 mana again for a 4/8, but it's got flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, indestructible. This is a massive, insane creature that can just pummel everybody. But what is it doing? It's, again, you can't really do dinosaurs because, again, there's 10 white dinosaurs or something like that. Maybe they'll add some new ones, but green and red and white are the dinosaur colors. So those need to be combined, I feel like, if you're doing dinosaur themed. What is your theme? He doesn't really fit a theme unless you do some sort of Voltron type thing, I guess. So don't use him. In fact, people cut Zatalpa from every deck because he's just so expensive. Just 8 mana for a big body. Yeah, make sure you know what you're doing with that kind of stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching. This was probably too long. Hopefully that kind of explains a little bit. So just in recap, pick a theme, get something that furthers the theme, and then something else that helps move that theme along. Anyway, thanks for watching. Join me next time for your weekly dose of Magic next Thursday. Said that all wonky, but it's fine.